Welcome to the revolution, where machines learn faster than your ex on social media. This is Unlocking the Future, and we're diving into machine learning. But before we start, did you know 65% of our listeners aren't following us? If you're into this kind of futuristic tech chats, hit that subscribe or follow button and collect our episodes on pods.media. Your support means the world.
Thanks, guys. You've sent in a whole stack of articles and research about machine learning, and honestly, it's a lot to sift through. That's where we come in. We'll break down what's most important so you walk away feeling informed and maybe even a little bit smarter.
It's true that machine learning is getting a lot of buzz these days. But what's fascinating is that it's not just hype, it's already having a real impact on your life, even if you don't realize it.
Okay, so for those who haven't spent their weekend binge-watching AI documentaries, let's start with the basics. What exactly is machine learning? I always get it mixed up with plain old programming. It's easy to confuse them, but the key difference is how the computer learns. With traditional programming, you write explicit instructions for every single step. With machine learning, you feed the computer data, and it figures out the rules on its own. Think of it like teaching a kid to ride a bike. You don't give them a detailed physics lecture, you let them try, fall, adjust. Eventually, they're off.
So it's like the computer is learning from experience, just like we do. But are there different ways computers can learn things like supervised learning and neural networks? It sounds like a whole different language.
You're right, there are different approaches, each suited for different tasks. Let's start with supervised learning. This is where you have labeled data. Think of it like having the answers in the back of the textbook. The algorithm learns to make predictions based on that labeled data. For example, imagine trying to predict house prices. You feed the algorithm data on thousands of homes, size, location, number of bedrooms, and their actual sale prices. The algorithm learns the patterns and can then estimate the price of a new house based on its features.
So that's how those online real estate sites give you those estimated values. That's really clever. What about this neural network thing? Does that mean we're building computer brains now?
Neural networks are inspired by the structure of the human brain, but they're not quite brains yet. Imagine a network of interconnected nodes, each one like a tiny switch. That can be on or off. By adjusting the strength of connections between these nodes, the network learns to recognize patterns in data.
So it's like a giant web of connections, constantly adapting and learning. But how does this actually translate into real-world applications? I'm guessing this isn't just theoretical computer science stuff.
You're absolutely right. One area where neural networks are making a huge impact is image recognition. Think about how Facebook automatically tags your friends in photos. That's a neural network at work, analyzing the image and identifying faces. Or think about self-driving cars using cameras and sensors to see the road. Neural networks help process that sensory data and make decisions about steering, braking, and navigating traffic.
Okay, this is starting to feel less like science fiction and more like our everyday reality. What about these other types of machine learning I keep reading about? Unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning.
Let's tackle unsupervised learning next. You're at a party where you don't know anyone. You start observing how people interact and form groups. Unsupervised learning is similar. It's about finding hidden structures and patterns in data without any labels or answers. For example, a streaming service might use unsupervised learning to cluster users based on their viewing habits, which helps them recommend shows you'd actually like.
So it's like the algorithms playing detective, figuring out connections and groupings that we might not even be aware of. That's pretty powerful. What about reinforcement learning? Is that where computers start rebelling against their human programmers?
Not quite. Reinforcement learning is about learning through trial and error. Think of it like training a dog. You reward good behavior and discourage bad behavior. In reinforcement learning, the algorithm gets feedback based on its actions and learns to maximize rewards. This is how game AI has gotten so good. Through repeated play, they learn which strategies lead to victory.
So it's all about finding the best strategy to win the game. Kind of like how I approach a trivia night. This is all super fascinating, but I'm still a little fuzzy on how we actually build a machine learning system. Do we just throw a bunch of data at a computer and hope for the best?
There's a bit more to it than that. It's not about random chaos. It's a structured process. We call it the machine learning pipeline, and it involves several key steps: data collection, pre-processing, model training, validation, and deployment.
Okay, break that down for us. What happens in each of these stages?
Think of it like baking a cake. First, you need ingredients. That's data collection. You gather data from various sources, depending on the problem you're trying to solve. But just like raw ingredients, data needs to be prepped. That's pre-processing, cleaning the data, handling missing values, and making it ready for the algorithm.
So it's like sifting the flour and making sure there are no eggshells in the batter. It's all about getting the data ready for the algorithm to do its magic.
Exactly. Then comes the main event, model training. You feed the prep data to your chosen algorithm, and it starts learning the patterns and relationships. It's like the algorithm is studying for an exam.
But how do we know if the algorithm actually learned anything useful? We don't want it just spitting out random answers.
That's where validation comes in. It's like giving the algorithm a test on a new set of data it hasn't seen before. This tells us how well it's actually learned and whether it can make accurate predictions. If it passes the test, we can finally deploy the model, putting it to work in the real world to solve problems.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all comes together. We've got our data, our algorithms, and this whole pipeline process. But now I'm really curious about how this is being used in my life. I know you've got some fascinating examples lined up for us, right?
Absolutely. We've just laid the groundwork. Now get ready to see how machine learning is shaping the world around you in ways you might not even imagine.
This is where it gets really interesting. Hit me with those real-world examples that show how this tech is actually changing things.
Okay, let's start with something you probably interact with every single day: your email inbox. Remember how we talked about classification algorithms sorting things into categories? That's exactly how spam filters work. They analyze incoming emails, looking for patterns that indicate spam, and keep those annoying messages out of your main inbox.
Full. That's how I managed to avoid all those Nigerian prince emails. Machine learning is saving my sanity. One spam message at a time. What other everyday examples are out there? I bet there's more than I realize.
Think about the last time you streamed a movie or binged a show on Netflix. Ever notice how they suggest what you might want to watch next? That's machine learning in action. These platforms use sophisticated algorithms to analyze your viewing history, your ratings, and even what other users with similar tastes are watching.
It's a little spooky how well they know my taste in movies sometimes. It's like they're reading my mind, or at least my viewing history.
It's all about pattern recognition. And these recommendations aren't just for entertainment. Think about online shopping. Those you might also like suggestions you see. Machine learning again. E-commerce platforms use these algorithms to personalize your shopping experience, hopefully leading to more sales for them, and maybe even helping you discover something new you actually need.
Okay, I'm definitely seeing how machine learning is all around us. But let's talk about something a bit more serious: healthcare. I know from my research that this is a field where machine learning has the potential to make a real difference.
Absolutely. One area where machine learning is making waves is medical image analysis. Think about X-rays, CT scans, MRIs. These are all complex images that require expert interpretation. Machine learning algorithms are being trained to analyze these images and assist radiologists in detecting subtle patterns that might indicate disease.
That's incredible. It's like having a second set of eyes, but with superpowered vision that can spot things humans might miss.
Exactly. And early detection is crucial for so many diseases. Machine learning could help doctors diagnose conditions like cancer, heart disease, and Alzheimer's earlier, when treatment is most effective.
This is really starting to feel like the future of medicine. What other applications of machine learning are transforming healthcare?
Another exciting area is drug discovery. Developing new drugs is a complex and time-consuming process. Machine learning is being used to analyze massive data sets of chemical compounds, genetic information, and clinical trial data to identify promising drug candidates.
So, machine learning could speed up the process of finding cures and treatments for diseases that currently have no good options. That's a game changer.
It definitely has the potential to revolutionize the way we develop and test new therapies. And it's not just about finding new drugs. Machine learning is also being used to personalize treatment plans by analyzing a patient's unique genetic makeup, lifestyle, and medical history. Algorithms can help doctors tailor treatments to the individual.
Wow. Personalized medicine powered by machine learning. Sounds like something out of a science fiction novel. Are there any areas of healthcare where machine learning isn't making an impact?
It's hard to think of any. From diagnosing diseases to developing new drugs to personalizing treatments, machine learning is transforming healthcare at every level, and this is just the beginning.
Okay, I'm officially convinced that machine learning is changing the world. But I know you've got even more fascinating examples up your sleeve. What else have you got for us?
Let's switch gears and talk about finance, another industry that's being reshaped by machine learning. You mentioned earlier that you're grateful for spam filters keeping your inbox clean. Well, machine learning is also playing a crucial role in keeping your money safe.
Oh, really? I'm all ears. Tell me how machine learning is protecting my hard-earned cash.
Banks and credit card companies are using machine learning algorithms to detect fraudulent transactions in real time. These algorithms analyze millions of transactions, looking for patterns that might indicate suspicious activity.
So, if someone steals my credit card and goes on a shopping spree, Machine learning can flag those transactions and potentially stop them before too much damage is done.
Exactly. These systems are constantly learning and adapting, making it much harder for fraudsters to get away with their schemes. And it's not just about preventing fraud. Machine learning is also being used to assess credit risk.
Oh, interesting. So when I apply for a loan, a machine learning algorithm might be deciding whether I'm a good risk or not.
That's right. These algorithms analyze your financial history, credit score, and other factors to predict the likelihood that you'll repay the loan.
Guess that means I need to keep my credit score squeaky clean. But it makes me wonder, are there any downsides to having these algorithms make such important decisions about our finances?
That's a valid concern. It's crucial to ensure that these systems are fair, transparent, and accountable. But the potential benefits are significant. Faster loan approvals, more accurate risk assessments, and potentially even lower interest rates for borrowers who are deemed low risk.
Okay, finance is definitely another area where machine learning is shaking things up. But I have to admit, the application that really captures my imagination is self-driving cars. It seems like we're on the cusp of a major transportation revolution.
Self-driving cars are definitely one of the most talked about and potentially transformative applications of machine learning. These vehicles rely heavily on machine learning algorithms to perceive their surroundings, make sense of complex traffic situations, and navigate safely without human intervention.
I know companies are already testing self-driving cars on public roads, but are they really ready for prime time? I mean, do we trust these systems to make life or death decisions?
That's a big question. And the technology is still evolving, but the potential benefits are enormous. Self-driving cars could reduce accidents caused by human error, improve traffic flow, and provide mobility for people who are unable to drive themselves.
It's mind-blowing to think about a future where cars drive themselves. But I have to ask, with all these incredible applications, are there any areas of our lives that won't be touched by machine learning?
It's hard to think of any. We're seeing machine learning being used in fields as diverse as agriculture, manufacturing, energy production, education, entertainment, the list goes on.
It sounds like machine learning is infiltrating every aspect of our lives, whether we realize it or not. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I can't help but wonder about the bigger picture. What are the long-term implications of living in a world where machines are becoming increasingly intelligent? What does the future hold for humanity in the age of machine learning?
Those are some profound questions, and they're exactly what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Let's take a quick break here.
Okay.
We are open for partnerships. Got a cool project? We've got the spotlight you need. We're opening our doors to a limited number of newsletters and podcast sponsorships, offering an exclusive opportunity to promote your brand and connect with our passionate audience. Check out the link in our newsletter or hit us up across all socials. We got this.
All right. We've seen how machine learning is changing the world around us, but now we need to grapple with the ethical and societal implications of this powerful technology. Buckle up, because things are about to get even more thought-provoking. It's been quite a journey. From spam filters to self-driving cars, it seems like machine learning is touching every corner of our lives.
It's mind-blowing, but also a bit daunting. What are some of the challenges and risks we need to consider as we move forward with this technology?
That's a crucial question. Like any powerful tool, machine learning can be misused or have unintended consequences if we're not careful.
Okay. Let's unpack some of those potential downsides. One thing that keeps coming up in my research is the issue of bias. How can we ensure that these machine learning systems are fair and don't discriminate against certain groups of people?
It's a critical concern, and it all boils down to the data. Remember, machine learning algorithms learn from the data they are fed. If the data itself reflects existing societal biases, the algorithm can perpetuate and even amplify those biases.
Can you give us a concrete example of how this might play out in the real world?
Imagine a facial recognition system used by law enforcement. If the training data primarily includes images of people from certain racial or ethnic groups, the system might be less accurate at identifying individuals from other groups. This could lead to misidentification and potentially wrongful arrests.
That's a sobering thought. It sounds like we need to be extremely careful about the data that's used to train these systems. What steps can we take to mitigate these risks?
First and foremost, we need diverse and representative data sets. This means including data from a wide range of people across different demographics. We also need to be aware of potential biases in the algorithms themselves and take steps to correct them.
It's not just about the data, it's also about the way the algorithms are designed and implemented.
And we need to be transparent about how these systems work. The more we understand about the data, the algorithms, and the decision-making process, the better equipped we are to identify and address potential biases.
Transparency is key. It's like the old saying, trust but verify. We need to be able to look under the hood and make sure these systems are operating fairly and ethically. But beyond bias, what other challenges do you see on the horizon?
Another big one is the impact on jobs. As machine learning systems become more sophisticated, they're capable of automating tasks that were previously done by humans.
This whole idea of robots replacing human workers is something that's been talked about for decades. Is it really something we need to worry about now?
It's already happening in some industries, and it's likely to accelerate in the coming years. Certain jobs, particularly those involving repetitive manual tasks, are more vulnerable to automation.
That's a little unsettling. But doesn't automation also create new jobs? After all, someone needs to build and maintain these machine learning systems.
That's true. But the new jobs that are created might require different skills and training. It's crucial that we think about how to prepare the workforce for this changing landscape. We need to invest in education and retraining programs to help people adapt to the new demands of the job market.
So, it's not just about the technology. It's also about how we manage the societal and economic impacts. It sounds like we're facing some complex challenges. But are there any potential solutions or strategies that give you hope for the future?
Absolutely. One promising area is human-AI collaboration. Instead of seeing AI as a threat, we can focus on finding ways for humans and machines to work together, leveraging each other's strengths.
I love that idea. Can you give us some examples of what that might look like in practice?
Think about the field of medicine. Instead of replacing doctors, AI systems can assist them by analyzing medical images, suggesting diagnoses, and recommending treatment options. The doctor can then use their expertise and judgment to make the final decision, taking into account the patient's individual circumstances.
It's about augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them altogether.
Yeah, exactly. And this collaboration can extend to many other fields. In education, AI tutors can personalize learning experiences, freeing up teachers to provide more individual attention. In manufacturing, robots can work alongside human workers, handling dangerous or repetitive tasks, while humans focus on more creative and complex work.
It sounds like a future where humans and machines work side by side, each contributing their unique skills and talents. That's a much more optimistic vision than the dystopian scenarios we often hear about.
We need to be thoughtful, deliberate, and proactive in guiding the development and deployment of this powerful technology.
Well said. As we wrap up our dive into machine learning, I'm feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. It's clear that this technology has the potential to revolutionize our world in countless ways, but it also presents us with some profound ethical and societal challenges.
It's an exciting and challenging time to be alive. We're on the cusp of a new era, and it's up to all of us to ensure that machine learning is used for good, that it benefits all of humanity, and that we create a future where humans and machines can thrive together.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Unlocking the Future. Be sure to subscribe to our show for more deep dives into the technologies that are shaping our world. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.